comparison's sake, would you show us some of the wrong ways to start that downswing?
If you're here, some of the books will tell you to turn your left hip. You turn your left hip, you drop your left shoulder, you go across the outside of your line, and you swing in, making an outside-in loop and slicing the ball, topping the ball, shanking the ball. That is one incorrect movement. The other, there are many incorrect movements, but I despise the turning of the left hip because it causes you to rotate and your weight shifts backwards, like a person trying to pitch a ball to a catcher and step into the second baseman. Your body motion actually neutralizes the hand motion. You have to step toward the catcher and pitch. But in the golf, it's an underhand pitch like this. So, when you take the club back and you try to pivot like this with the hips, you don't get your weight into the position that it would give you some advantages. Now, if you get at the top of the backswing like this, and you pull down with your arms, you're not traveling on the plane that the ball is on. The ball is out here, and if you move the arms down, you're traveling down the vertical instead of out the transverse where the ball is on, so you can't make contact with it. This would then cause you to have to rock your shoulders, actually hit the ball, and you go over the top of it. You roll over with your right shoulder, throw your head out of line, and you'll be out of balance.
Will you show us the proper position of the body, shoulders, arms, hands, and legs at impact?
Well, when you hit the ball, or when I get to the impact position, I am braced on my left leg, so I feel that I can support my entire body weight from the torso up on the head of the femur bone, which is this bone right here, as it enters the pelvic right here. And my right knee is bent in or flexed in between the left knee and the ball, and I feel like I'm striking this ball off of the side of the right leg and right hip, with my arms not tucked into my body but extended.
Mike, what causes your hands to uncock before impact?
Well, when you move your weight forward like this, I take my left thumb and try to force it against the shaft, and also the upper part of my right thumb against the left, which causes the shaft to catch up with the left arm. But there's one motion that you've got to do in conjunction with this. While you make this motion, it's like you have a knife and you got the edge pointing right at this ball. You come down with the edge. Before you get there, you turn the broadside of this knife into the back of that ball, which is done by actually controlling these two bones in the forearm by the pronatus and the supinatus muscles. In other words, not only do we have to control the plane that we are working on, but also the blade. This blade actually stays square to the points of the compass through which it moves. If I stood here like this, say this is the North Pole and this is the South Pole, if I rotate it to the East Pole, my hand is facing back here, so it isn't anything like it was when I started. It's 90 degrees removed.
Mike, do you attempt to delay the uncocking of the wrists and the hands on the downswing?
I certainly do not. This is where I get the jump on almost anyone when I try to hit the ball. When I move my weight over here and my shoulders rotate in this manner, I give the club a throw so it will catch up. Your stimulus begins right here. Everything works as a unit with the hands trying to work faster than the arms so they can take up the slack that's in the bend of the wrist, what we call the cock of the hand.
Do your hands cross over on impact?
They don't cross over at impact, they cross over after impact. They're square. They're right in line. Palm of the left hand on the front of the shaft, palm of the right hand on the back of the shaft. Face square to the intended line of flight.
And after the... Oh, excuse me.
And after the crossover, after the hit, the right hand crosses over the left hand, then the elbows fold and dump it over your back.
How important are the knees and elbows in hitting the ball?
Well, it's through the utilization of the knees and the elbow that you can control your balance and the club head through the golf swing.
Here's a $64 question for you, Mike. You've shown us that there are many thoughts and movements to coordinate in the golf swing. Do you consciously think of all of them when you hit the ball?
Actually, a person should try swinging until they can swing without thinking of all the component parts. It's got to be a trained reflex action. In other words, like you walk, you don't think of all the component parts of your body to walk. You shouldn't think of all the component parts when you're playing golf. You must decide what club you're going to use, get up and make your measurements, draw back and swing it, the tempo that you determined before you made the swing.
It's a case of practice, continued practice. Then.
Must be. See, if you don't, you won't be able to do this in the manner. See, if you try to do it consciously, you slow down the reflexes. It's got to be done subconsciously.
Do you feel that amateur golfers can improve their swing by watching a lesson of this kind?
Definitely for this reason. We learn through mental images. 87% of what you see, you can comprehend. What you hear, only get about 7%. You feel about 3%. Your taste and smell are 1.5 each. This is where you divide these senses up. So by hearing, through proper instructions from a good Class A member of the PGA, and by looking at his demonstrations, and you trying to emulate that, you can get through these positions like you should to hit it correctly.
Have you ever heard the criticism made of golfers who read a book, then go out and try to play according to what they read, and their game is so messed up they're frustrated?
Well, there's so many things in the books that have been written that I think are adverse to the basic laws of physics and the way they structure the body, that it's impossible to do the things that are written. 90% of the books that have been written are not by the golfers whose names are on them. They are by writers who get a few words from the people that they buy their name from. And this is what I'm strictly against. I think there's too many bad books on the market. This may be a slam to my profession, but whether it is or not, I wish to make this particular statement, that I don't like the books that are written on the market today.
You've talked a lot about the weight shifting in one thing or another. What about the weight of the clubs? You use a very heavy club.
Well, for all my life, I've been trying to obtain greater distance. And by doing this, I've swung hard, and I've got to a point right now that by swinging so hard, I've lost the final touch. So to get the feeling of a club, I have to have a heavy club, you know?
But the average golfer doesn't.
Definitely not. You see, we work with a factor, the kinetic energy factor, which is mv squared divided by 2. In other words, we're working for club head speed. It's like loading a horse. If you put too much weight on a horse, he loses the race. He may be the fastest runner in the race, but if he loads the weight on this horse, they lose the race.
Good, Mike. You've given us some excellent lessons on the golf swing, and now in just a moment we'd like to have you show us on the golf course in this exclusive slow-motion film that we have following this word. Now, Mike, we'll see the results of training and practice as we watch you apply your technique in actual play on the golf course in our exclusive slow-motion film. We'll ask you, if you will, to narrate the film. First is the swing with a wood.
These pictures show a type of swing that will produce the greatest amount of potential power. This very large club head arc is a result of a full shoulder turn, extended left arm, and a little more transfer of weight than is necessary, which has forced my head to move to the right on the backswing. This compels me to shift an exaggerated amount of my weight from my right foot to my left foot in the start of the downswing. So for accuracy and precision, I recommend a steady head position and less weight shift and wind up of the shoulders on the backswing. What you've just seen of this golf swing is kind of leading you into the science which I'm trying to advocate on this particular program. That is kinesiology, which is the analyzation of the muscle movement and the utilization of the proper movements of the joints in making the golf swing.
Mike, do you hit a hook or a fade?
Well, John, it all depends on what I want to do with it. I can make it do anything that I want to do. That is, hook or slice, if according to the way the fairway or the course is lined out. I try to play the way it's lined out. If it's a slice hole, I play a slice. If it's a hook hole, I play a hook.
Well, next we have a film with you hitting the iron. And I know many have problems with their iron shots.
Here you should notice the constant plane of the shoulders, arm, shaft, and club head, rotating about a common center, which is the base of the neck. On the downswing, you should watch how the forearms are controlling the club face, so that it will meet the golf ball square to the target at impact. Notice how the body is supported by the left leg and foot at impact, as the right side swings in toward the golf ball, pivoting on the left leg and foot, and finishes with the center of our stomach facing the target. This is the ideal position that you would try to attain on the finish of a golf swing, so that you can almost stand up with the small of the back pressing against the stomach wall, the muscle of the stomach wall, in this manner.
And here again, you do not put that right elbow on the hip.
Definitely not. Watch this action here. If you put it here, you're on a too flat a plane. You're going in between the hips and the shoulders. Throws your head up and off of the position that you're trying to attain, the center position.
Now, Mike, a slow motion film of one of your trick shots, which illustrates a basic point in your philosophy of the golf swing.
The shot with the rope attached from the left arm to the club will prove that the downswing does not start from a pull of the left arm to initiate the downswing. The downswing is initiated by a coordinated action of the body, arms, hands, legs, and feet, with each receiving its stimulation at the start of the downswing and resulting in the uncorking of the wrist and the unfolding of the right elbow, that the club head and shaft catch up with the left arm at impact. I get the feeling when I take a swing at a golf ball that I am making an underhanded pitch or throw of the club head while stepping over onto my left foot and aiming the club through the golf ball. Exactly. Step and throw. Step and throw. Don't pull. Don't drop the left shoulder. Throw.
Mike, do you vary this in any way with the number of club, like from the short 9-iron or the wedge to your longer irons?
The only variance would be in the length of the club which you're using. My hands are still the same distance away from me. It doesn't change the action of the club itself.
But you close your stance, don't you, for the shorter shots?
Well, I would, yes. I'd move my right foot more in towards the center line, which actually closes up my position of the feet, you see.
You have, or would you consider it an abnormally big backswing? Do you think it's abnormal?
Well, actually, I have a little more because I'm trying for a little more than is necessary. You see, in getting this position that I'm getting, I wouldn't move over the ball with my head if I would stop about here. But by trying to rotate my shoulders a little more than necessary to get a regular amount of distance, I get a slight movement of my head as I go back. This has caused me a little difficulty in direction.
Thank you, Mike. Now, as we close, I wonder if you would show us that slow motion treatment of the full golf swing again. Ladies and gentlemen, KHJ TV Channel 9 has presented Mike Austin, golf professional, in an unusual program of instruction in his advanced method of achieving a perfect golf swing. We invite your comments. Just address a postcard or letter to Golf, KHJ TV, Hollywood 38. John Willis speaking. This has been a special sports presentation on KHJ TV Channel 9, your Major League Sports station for Los Angeles.